case extensions, and then K. Ready? Everyone good? Okay. Oh yeah, overview on case. Cyber feminism is about reprogramming technology in order to remove lines pressed on our bodies and open up ourselves to reorientation. Gender fucking the binary removes the stigma around the modified body and challenges notions of gender. All doesn't account for gender binaries, therefore all cannot solve the case and all cannot solve the K. By changing the way the objective body works, we can implode border wars waged on the body that deviates a queer future and imagination open up, produces education for previously ignored by topic. Our case outweighs the critique. Also, we advocate for the transference of organs. Extend across our, this is called the essentialism DA, that there is no universal truth about all violence coming from or sent upon. There is no meta-narrative that describes everything in the world for everyone at one time. The negative teen axis of all medium derives from the same word, resentment/nihilism, which overdetermines our political possibilities and promotes fashion when we are all the same, we all have the same ideas. Oh, and also the essentialism DA is how they root all of the feminism within women. This is probably going to be a voter right here because this isn't about women. It's about how the gender binary is violent towards my partner. You can't just see, and also like this is a voter right here. You can't just see the queer as different. It's not about being, it's not about women being less. It's about the neck paints which bodies are weak and which are affected by this. Feminism is not about that. It's not about females and the queer. Multiple times she says women and queers, women and queers. It's not about that. That's a voter issue right there because this isn't about women. It's about all bodies and all binaries and how the binary effectively handles all binaries. My partner makes great arguments that they don't even touch on the case flow. By the way, that's another reason why we should probably advance in this debate is that it's basically like it's taking the material and ontological violence away from the individual who is discriminated against for a woman not being feminine enough. So i.e. is when a woman cuts her hair into a short haircut, how people are violent to her and call her butch, Dutch, butch, etc. This is how the gender binaries are violent, and this is how we can solve that because we reprogram techno rationality and how that is being used for transference of human organs. I.e. when I add different body parts onto my body, i.e. two vaginas on my chest and a penis out of my forehead, that radically changes the way the gender binaries operate because people don't know how to orientate themselves on something, as well as my orientation of the world. This is a reprogramming of techno rationality and how we use this, how we use the science. And also, the impact that I've explained multiple times is ontological violence based on like how people can call my partner a queer or a faggot, etc. And the violence of actual physically hurting these bodies which don't abide by the binaries. Okay. Also going on to K. Okay. So their first argument is that they refute evil foreign, that we securitize ourselves. No, it's not about securing ourselves and just accepting that violence happens. It's about reorientating the way that we see the world. They say that it's a joyful overcoming and solving our lives. There's nothing, well, I'm going to make the argument here that there's nothing joyful about embracing being called a faggot, the ontological violence, or being physical abuse. I don't think that it's necessarily just embracing the John spot and expressing that pain is inevitable. No, it's about what we do to the pain. The alternative effectively, or the negative alternative effectively lets violence happen and it lets a proliferation of violence get worse because we don't take a stance against these issues. The affirmative is key in the stance. The affirmative is key in the stance because we take a stance against queering the gender binary, which allows for the violence to go on. So we can effectively stop violence by not only in this room by educating about this, but by queering the gender binary through physical transference of organs. Also, they don't extend, they don't touch any of our arguments about autonomy, the two net benefits, our agency to craft our bodies, and liberation to escape dualisms. This is probably why you're going to vote case and why this is going to be important. Also, extend across our argument about how that the uniqueness can solve for resentment. Also, that techno-rationality is inevitable through the advocated, techno-rationality is inevitable, so it's how we reprogram the techno-rationality. Also extend across my partner's argument about the permutation. The permutation can effectively function because we can effectively act resentment against our own bodies. We can blur the lines between what's pain and suffering. That allows us to, for example, if I mutilate my body, that might be a pleasure for myself because I can effectively change and embrace a new identity, but that mutilation may be actual pain in itself that's suffering. So it blurs the lines between these binaries. The app creates neat binaries, like both of these are cookie cutter things. No, we're saying that there clearly can be a crossover. Is there anything else on the permutation? Okay. Also, to answer back their arguments about resentment wants the problem to affirm life and extend strategy of control. This is a new person, peer review, surveillance. Like all their explanations of the permutation don't necessarily make sense, and we're proving that these are not mutually exclusive. Also, they're yeah, and then you're going ahead and extend our Paragraph 91 card about coalitions and the telos of the whole. They're saying that the resentment determines all pain. This is essentializing the way that people act in real life. So yeah. And also, you're going to extend across all of our offense about saying why the app is a good idea, is that we can effectively change the way that suffering and pleasure are, that we can escape that dualism. Our whole affirmative is about how dualism or violence against bodies, so when we escape these dualisms, that's effectively a good thing. Also, extend across our impact here, that lines are created and bodies are pressed into these lines. So being saying that everybody experiences oppression in the same exact way is probably problematic. That's pressing lines on the body, saying that you will experience it the same way, that all queers experience the same kind of pain. That's not how it is, and that's not how the world, that's not how it functions. Also, you can go ahead and extend across our offense on the K that this isn't about like enjoying it, that we need to effectively change the material violence that are happening to us. It's not just enjoying ourselves and affirming life. This literally allows people to keep kicking, and this is keep kicking my partner, or keep kicking other queer bodies, or keep enacting violence upon people who don't enact in the gender binary. This is a voter right here, that this doesn't let violence happen. This just keeps making violence worse. Also, there are arguments about end resentment is affirming life. This ends the cycle of violence. This isn't possible. This is not possible. This is just a claim without warrants. They don't extend across any real life implications about how they can have this happen. They say that postmodern status of truth, like, no, we're saying there's much more violence against bodies. It's not about just women. They say that it's about women being powerless. No, it's not about women and queer bodies. It's about anybody who fits outside of that norm. They say that they can solve for the case, but they can't solve for the gender binary. None of their offense talks about how they can solve for the gender binary. Therefore, they cannot solve for case, and they make case worse because they let the violence against queer bodies keep ongoing. Also, they say that there's a subjective truth of that ends cycle of violence. No, we're saying that you universalize the way that resentment and how pain is felt. You universalize the way that everyone feels pain in the same, and you don't even extend across your impact about nihilism.
Okay, Nick is 442.